Hey everyone, and welcome back to GameSpot's coverage of Key 3 2022 Summer Game Fest, whatever you want to call it. We even had t-shirts made up of Key 3, so, you know, we're really rolling with it. And as you can tell, we're back in person again, which is why it might be a little bit louder than usual, but that's all part of the fun. We're all here to get excited about video games. I'm Lucy James, and joining me is Aaryn Flynn. Here to talk about Nightingale. It's great to see you. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. I'm good, Lucy. Thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm very excited. I'm kind of big into sort of fantasy. You know me. I came to BioWare and chatted with you a few years ago. Very excited to see what you've got cooking. And Nightingale we saw at the Game Awards. Seen it again at Summer Game Fest. What's it like being able to kind of put stuff out there after working on things in secret for a while?
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, we're getting really great fan reception. When you start something from scratch and you haven't, it's all in your head, it's all in the developers' heads, you're always a little bit nervous to put something out there because you think, oh, I hope we've got it right. I hope we're doing this to what they want. And so it's super rewarding and gratifying when people get excited about what we're showing and showing Nightingale off and these new things we're doing here with Nightingale. So yeah, it feels great actually. I think it's a big relief to get it out there and see positivity from folks.
So we talked a little bit before this interview, but what is the elevator pitch if you had to very quickly explain Nightingale?
Yeah, so Nightingale is a survival crafting game set in a shared world, meaning you can play with your friends and play with others. And it's in our own IP, our own Gaslamp fantasy Victorian universe. So that's why you got these cool outfits and everything. But in our game, players get to explore these realms and uncover mysteries and do things. But they also get to control what realms they go to thanks to these things called realm cards. And because we've built up this really awesome procedural realm generation system, then players get to play these cards and control what's on the other side of portals. So they can set the biome like swamp, forest, or desert. They can then control other aspects of it, and they get to collect and craft these realm cards over time, share them with friends, do things like that. And that gives them a lot more agency and a lot more decision making over what they're going to play and what experience they're going to go. All about this really cool, fun, a little bit of story through all of it too.
I was going to say, there is a lot to unpack there. So I want to kick off with, you mentioned it's your own IP. You got the story threads bringing you along. Are you talking, are you going to give us any little breadcrumbs about what that could entail right now? Like, who am I playing as?
Yeah, that's a good question. So you play as a realm walker, and at the start of our game, you have gone through a portal in an effort to escape a catastrophe in Earth, trying to get to the magical city of Nightingale because you figure that'll be safe there. But unfortunately, the portal network has malfunctioned, and you find yourself lost in these deep realms, far, far away. And so the character in our trailer there, he is the first to see you, and he says, well, you're going to need to survive out here and find a way back to Nightingale at some point. And so the long adventure of our game is realm walkers finding their way back to Nightingale and all the adventures they'll have along the way.
Perfect. And so it's not just an adventure that I can have by myself, I can get my friends in. How is the multiplayer part of it? Is it, if I have a character and then I decide to just kind of get my friends in for a little bit, how's progress and stuff going to carry?
Yeah, you can certainly do that. So we want to make sure the game is playable for individuals because it's really important. But then if you do like to play with your friends, you are welcome to invite them to your realm and they can invite you to their realms. And it's what we call a high trust cooperative environment. By that we mean, you're not going to see other players around your realm and they're not going to be able to interact with you unless you've invited them in, unless you've made that decision, which you have a choice to do. And so, you can invite your friends in, you can build together, you can do things together, you can go adventuring together, and you see some of that in our trailer when you see multiple realm walkers running around. The assumption there is that you're all friends doing this together.
Yeah, so if there's any griefing, so it's someone that you know and trust.
Exactly. If there's any griefing, then as we say, get better friends, I guess, yeah.
That's a great way of putting it. So I guess in terms of, crafting, survival, there's kind of been this mini renaissance of it. I think especially everyone's been in COVID, and so things like Valheim have come along, V Rising now, where people are, it's the feeling of accomplishment. What drew you to sort of that genre?
Yeah, it's a great point, Lucy. There's so many great teams building survival crafting games with really interesting, innovative mechanics and ideas there. And I think that was very inspiring for us in our team as we thought about it. We've made RPGs, a lot of us, I have too, and so we thought, yeah, what's an interesting twist on a character with a lot of agency, a character and characters who can go do a lot of things, which is at the essence of a good role-playing game, in my opinion. And so survival crafting games offered a lot of that, this notion that you can construct things and express yourself creatively. You can create gear for yourselves, create buildings for yourselves. And that just really, really resonated with us early on. So a lot of those mechanics have been in since the early days of the game. And since becoming Inflexion Studios, we really decided that we would double down on that and invest in that more fully and try to bring that experience to the forefront.
And I was going to say another part of it is you kind of have the showing off part of things where, you know, you meet up with someone, you're like, how did you get that?
Yeah, exactly right. This notion of acquiring things and of crafting it yourself and putting all of that energy and passion into it and making it just perfect for you, right? The game, survival crafting games do such good things with that, and you get to do all that in Nightingale.
Yeah. And so in Nightingale as well, I think the thing that is interesting to me is, like, you know, Valheim, you've got, and I bring that up because I played a lot of it with my friends. It's like you have the sort of Nordic fantasy kind of setting, but then that's the setting, right? But with Realm cards and in Nightingale, you have all of these options for you as a developer. How, I mean, you want to obviously give the team free reign to experiment and stuff, but how do you also rein that in?
Oh yeah, well, I'm lucky to work with a lot of very talented developers who have some experience in this and who are pretty good at managing themselves and doing that. And so I trust them and work with them, and they provoke me to come up with things and make sure that the studio is giving them what they need to go off and try these things. But you know, a lot of it's just come together in the past 3+ years of working on this game. You know, this notion that we have a tech stack that lets us assemble and build these realms procedurally, so players are always getting something a little bit different, a little bit unique, and then this idea that then connecting that to realm cards as an interface to controlling what's on the other side of that just really started to come into its own recently, and I couldn't be more excited. It's so cool to get a chance to have a lot of fun in a realm and then think, oh, where could we go next? And then you talk to your friends, you get excited about that, and then sure enough, you look at your realm card, say, oh, I could play this one, I could play that one, you could play this other one over here together. We go through a portal, and the other side is reflecting exactly what this, but still with mystery, still with intrigue, still with things to discover.
What's the most surprising combination you've seen?
Oh, some of the biomes we have, like desert combined with some of the Fey things you'll get on the other side, is pretty cool. To see that stuff sitting in the desert is pretty daunting, pretty exciting to see.
So you mentioned that it's kind of been in development for about 3.5, maybe more years?
3.5 years since it was kind of solidified and greenlit, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, how did you bring the team together? And obviously we've been hit by COVID and lockdown. Is the team all up in Edmonton? Are you spread out?
Yeah, a lot of us are at Edmonton. A lot of us have either worked together in the past, or we've got a wonderful crop of younger developers who've joined us either at a school or from a couple years in the industry. We do have some remote folks as well, and we continue to hire both in Edmonton and remotely as we want to grow our team. But yeah, most of us are in Edmonton at a studio right downtown, which is great. And yeah, I mean, COVID was, everybody returned home and tried to keep everybody safe working from home there, which we can do in the games industry. It's hard at times, obviously, but we are lucky to be able to do that as compared to some folks who have to be present, at a certain facility for their job. But yeah, we've got people back in the studio now in a hybrid situation, and I think it's working out pretty well. And yeah, it's nice to see faces collaborating and seeing each other and getting excited about things and doing kind of how I grew up making games, which is you'd go to someone's desk and look over that and kind of ask questions about it and learn in the process too. But hopefully we'll continue that way for the remainder of the project and beyond.
So I know you obviously came from BioWare, a lot of the team did. BioWare obviously just masterclass in storytelling, so I was a bit surprised earlier when you were like, yeah, there is story, but you're really kind of doubling down on the gameplay and stuff. But I guess, is that a chance for you to just flex another skill, another muscle? Yeah,
that's the hope, Lucy. Like a BioWare game is just such an investment in storytelling, and it requires a huge team. It requires lots of very specialized skill sets, and we never could believe that we could have the team size and the expertise to do all that. So we wanted to lower our ambitions a little bit and create a great setting and create an environment. And we really started to get the idea that it would be fun to let players create their own stories, right? And so how do you give players more agency? How do you give them just a setting, just a sandbox they can have some fun in and do some things in, where it's unique and special to them, but at the same time, they're gonna start to tell their own stories. And that's what we're really striving here to do. So there's a little breadcrumbs, little provocations, if you will, of storytelling and characters you can interact with. But at the same time, the stories you really want there to be there are the ones that players make up and share with each other and say, oh, you're never gonna believe what happened when we played these realm cards together and went into this realm, it was amazing.
Perfect. Well, Aaryn, you mentioned to me earlier, people are going to be able to play it this year.
Yeah, that's the hope. We're working hard. The whole team's working hard. So, but things look pretty good. Lots to do, lots of things to refine. But we'll be doing our closed alpha play test very soon. So please sign up at playnightingale.com if you're interested, and we will look for you there.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Lucy. Much appreciated.
Yeah, of course. And for more on Nightingale, make sure to stay tuned to GameSpot.